I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. I'm fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah, y'all can't cancel me. My life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak. How's a man say I'm clickbait if he gonna use this face to get clicks on his page? Y'all hypocrites are made. But I ain't tripping about these bullies, it ain't 6th grade. Go ahead and diss me trying to sell a couple mixtapes. I am not playing it safe, I said what I said, it is what it is.
I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me. They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but
Aaron Tuttle here. It's storm season in Oklahoma, and with that comes torrential rain, high winds, and hail. To protect your home and your family from these threats, the one roofing company you should trust is Ferguson Roof Systems. They've been providing the best in roofing services for nearly half a century. Ferguson is Oklahoma's full-service roofing company, certified with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and a 5-star rating on Google. And with Ferguson now offering Class 4 impact-resistant shingles, now is the time to trust them with your home's roof. Get started today at FergusonRoofSystems.com. Hey everybody, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you again. It's been a minute, so thanks for your patience. Been broadcasting, off and on for the severe weather season, and then things really got quiet really fast. So, oh my gosh, what happened to our severe weather season, man? So I'm gonna load up here the old Facebook Live so I can see your comments here on my mobile device. I think, anyways. Come on, Facebook, you can do it. Or maybe you can't do it. Where's my page? Seriously, where is my page? This is my page on Facebook. That's not a good sign. That's how I work out this technical difficulty. What is that nonsense, man? Close app, start over. Try this again. By the way, thanks for joining me on YouTube and Twitter for tonight. And also, you know what? I can't see that page. Let me go to another app. Let me try my other one. I'm going to get there eventually. I better check, see if I'm still up and running. Yeah, still up and running. Okay, there it is. I just can't get it on my own phone. What's wrong with my problem? What is wrong here? Alright, well I can't do it on that. Let me try this one. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. We'll get started here in a second. We're still waiting for people to comment anyway, that way they don't miss anything. And they say, hey, can you start over? So, alright, listen. Facebook, quit breaking stuff, man. The app was working fine earlier. Alright, well whatever. Que sera, sera. You know what that means. It means it's showtime. Let's get on with it. Technical difficulties aside. Okay, so don't worry, we do have some storms, and they look a little like this. So we've got the Storm Prediction Center is highlighted, a little batch up here to the green, to the areas to the north that just disappeared. There it is again. Across northern Oklahoma, about the northern third of the state, and that stretches on up into southeastern Nebraska. This is for our Friday afternoon and evening hours. So that'll be what we'll focus on. Now we'll get a little close-up view of that. In the meantime, this little orange color is more of the same, which is a heat index value approaching 105 to 110 degrees is what it feels like out there. So that does mean the criteria is met for heat advisory, which does mean take it easy because you can get a little too much of that heat and that'll really wear you down. So the heat stress index is high for tomorrow. It's all in the little kind of red shading. Thank goodness at least it's not extreme like it was today, where, you know what, I still think there's going to be a little pocket of extreme. If I had to color it in, it would be like something like this maybe. But the good news is there hasn't been as much rain down here in southwest Oklahoma, so it may offset some of the higher temperatures that'll show up. We'll show that here in a second. But it says drink plenty of fluids and limit time in the sun. If possible, reschedule strenuous outdoor activities for early morning or evening. And never let children or pets in vehicles unattended. That's a big one, man. That is a no-no. Do not, even if you crack the windows in this type of a heat environment, do not think, oh, it'll be okay because, you know, I'll crack the windows. I tell you what, you crack the window and you sit there for half an hour and you see how you end up. Guarantee you won't be too pleased. Hey, look, my Facebook page worked again. There we go. Turn this thing
Which
down
does
here.
mean take it easy.
All right, so I'm back up and running. Okay, so anyway, that's a look here at the western and central Oklahoma kind of a viewpoint. In eastern Oklahoma, same kind of, we'll get to that here in a second. Hold on, real quick. The severe weather potential is up here to the north, as we mentioned, stretching just east of Woodward to Enid, Ponca City, Stillwater, up to just probably north end of Tulsa. Now, the wild card here is what happens in this vicinity here. Because there's going to be a storm complex that kind of moves to the south-southwest, and if it holds together, we might get some action here in central Oklahoma by late tomorrow, say probably after 5 o'clock. This is as a cold front is getting into our state. The heat index values in Tulsa, also the hot side, close to 110 degrees out there. So statewide, you know, it's going to be a little on the hot, humid side and also a little on the stormy side, especially up north. Timing here for 4 to midnight, winds up to around 60 miles per hour, hail to quarter size. And just like it was a few days ago, you can get some locally flash flooding in any of these little small isolated areas where the storms just kind of sit and rain too long. I don't think we'll have that much of a pattern for tomorrow, but just to keep in mind, you might get some brief runoff. Now here's a look at the maximum wet bulb globe temperature risk. That is a mouthful. It's from the Oklahoma Mesonet. Basically, the bottom line is if you're in the black, you're not doing good. It's an extreme risk of heat exhaustion and kind of takes the toll on the human skin. So this is kind of a combination. It's an impact of temperature, humidity, wind speed, solar radiation, and all those values combined on humans. It's kind of like the heat index, but it accounts for sunlight exposure and wind speed. So bottom line is if it's in the red or black, you're in the high to extreme risk, which means if you're outdoors and length of time, your body really is going to have a tough time to acclimate and to cool yourself down. So kind of think of it as an enhanced way of looking at the heat index. All right, so let's take a look at how things ought to progress for tomorrow. We're going to heat up again. We're looking at, we'll see. We're just going to use this model just for an example here because these numbers won't be exact. They'll be pretty close. Especially it depends on where I stop the cursor, but it's got 4 to 5 o'clock here. That's why I'm saying it cools it too much in Oklahoma City. But let's just stop it here about 3 o'clock. So it's got a stretch here just northwest of Oklahoma City where it's going to be in the mid 90s up to about 100 degrees in the west and southwest of town down toward Childress. So what happens is we're going to have a little cold front action that's kind of going to drip into this region and move very, very slowly. And sometimes you get compressional warming out ahead of the front, and it can heat up in this little thin band out ahead of the frontal boundary. So, for example, if I were to plot these on a map here for you, some of the hottest numbers will be out from around Hennessy, Dover, Watonga, Binger, Weatherford, Cordell, Hobart, Carnegie, Carter, Willow, Mangum, Hollis. Again, you're looking anywhere from 103 to 104 degrees down here in southwest Oklahoma. So that's going to be some heat, man. Now, it won't be as hot in eastern Oklahoma, but that's also because you have a lot more humidity out there. You'll be into the upper 80s to near 90, though, in several areas. So with the humidity factored in, it will not feel nice out there as well either. All right, back to the other map. And we can show you the cold front. It's a... I used to work with a buddy of mine at Channel 5, and he would call it the not so hot fronts because it was just sad to call it a cold front. And he's right, it's pretty sad. But anyway, here's a look at how there's like a little area of low pressure up here in northern Oklahoma. And then here's that little dragged end of a front. It kind of snakes its way in through like this. So it's not a very fast mover, really slow. But over time, this will work its way in Friday night into Saturday. And that'll give us some both rain with it for some of us and then much cooler temperatures. Let's do the rain first, and then I'll show you the temperatures as we head into our weekend for Saturday and Sunday. So let's do this right here. All right. So again, thanks for joining me. If you like the content I provide, check the description here, and you can become a Facebook fan subscriber or Patreon member. Or any other things I got loaded up in there for you that you can participate in. Here's a look at the 6 o'clock time frame. So it kind of has the leading edge of that front here in northwest Oklahoma City. It's trying to bubble up a couple of storms on there. There's not a lot of convergence along it. But what it does is it actually has back into another area of disturbed weather. This cluster of storms that's likely going to work its way to the south. And the timing is questionable as to when it arrives. This is a later approach. This has 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock here through the Oklahoma City area. But you can see we are going to get some storms around here for tomorrow afternoon, evening, over at least parts of Oklahoma. Then that kind of vaporizes overnight, Friday night. And as we head into Saturday, looks like there was an isolated shower, maybe or thunderstorm in far eastern Oklahoma, and that was about it. So rainfall-wise, this is it. So whatever the front can do, along with that little cluster up into Kansas moving southward, that's about all we have to work with. Now the tech model isn't so bullish on that, but what it does show you is some of that heat coming in. This is 850 millibars. These little winds here that come out of the southwest and west, this little stretch here, this is what I talked about in my blog. This really heats things up from the upper level ridge that's overhead. And that's why we get so warm. We get this downslope component from the higher elevations here. And then that drier air filters in. So we see that every time about this time of the year. And so we kind of go back and forth between these dry, hot spells aloft, and then the weak cold fronts that come in and bring some rain. Okay, so let's go back to the temperatures for the weekend. And we'll take you into that. I believe this only goes to Saturday, so we'll do that first. Let's see here. So Saturday we're looking at widespread 80s and unfortunately still some 90s down here, especially in southwest Oklahoma. Remember, it's a not so hot front, but it is going to be much better feeling to you. And then let's see, Sunday morning, we're having more of these humid, warmer mornings this time of the year. I missed the San Diego style weather that we had for a while. That was really nice. Let me go on into Sunday afternoon. Drag this out a little bit more in time. And I'll show you the wind speeds, and then we'll look at the extended outlook for your temperatures and your rain. And then we'll call it good. All right, so Sunday. So same kind of idea. Let's see, let's go back to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're looking at a lot of low 90s, still maybe some upper 80s up here in far northeastern Oklahoma. You can ignore this little bullseye here. It's just a model going goofy. But low 90s here. So it's a little bit better this weekend. We're not hitting those mid to upper 90s. We're going to be hitting the upper 80s to lower 90s. So it is a little bit of a significance on the temperature with that front that comes through tomorrow. Late day. All right, wind fields. Let's see. We get that light northeasterly wind on Saturday, just a gentle breeze, and then on Sunday, man, even more of a gentle breeze. It's gentle. What's gentle times 2? Good grief, man. Whopping 8 knots, 7 knots. That's pretty weak. Okay, so let's see. Now let's do your overall look in the atmosphere. By the way. Take you through this weekend. So this is that ridge of high pressure I talked about down here, and that's what's helping to pump in the heat back into Oklahoma. As it strengthens and kind of builds something like this, it brings all of its heat with it. So that's what's been building here this week, and what it's doing is it's forcing these little upper level lows to kind of move up over the top of the ridge and bring all the severe weather, Montana and North Dakota and Canada. So that's where you're seeing all the tornadoes. If you get on Twitter, you see all the supercell storms from all the storm chasers. That's where all the action is. This pattern is a little early for us to be kind of bubbling in like this and shoving it so far north. It usually does happen in June. It's just usually, there's a transition, but we started it at the end of May, so why not? But anyway, so as we go through time here, I'm going to take you in. Let's see, the high kind of stays through there over the weekend. There's Friday and Saturday. So if we did not have that weak front that sneaks in, and because sometimes those fronts can come in. Remember, the little fronts will sneak in here over the top of the ridge, and they get really weak. They get beaten down by the ridge, but at least it's there, and that's what saves us from just unbearable madness. Unfortunately, that doesn't work later in the summer. It just works earlier in the summer. Okay, so let's see. There's Sunday. Ridge is still there. It's expanding northward, though. So now the center of the ridge is shifting across the four corners, which is where it typically likes to set up shop. And in this particular case, we get in these northerly flows. All right, so sometimes you can get storm clusters that form and then they drift down south in Oklahoma and surprise everybody with a nice little round of rain. So it's not a completely dry pattern, but it is a warm pattern for us. And it's going to be hard to time these little guys that come down, these little batches of vorticity. But as we head on into time, let's take a look here. We're on to Wednesday of next week. I'm going to keep going. Here's Saturday. So not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. Just kind of give you an idea of the pattern that we're in. Region of high pressure there. We're trying to get a little Gulf action along the coastline there that provides some relief for those folks. Otherwise, we're kind of in a stagnant pattern. The jet stream is kind of shoved now to our north and passes off to the east. We're on the fringe here where maybe again something could come down out of the mountainous terrain here and then come into Oklahoma or the Texas Panhandle. Is about all we had to look forward to in this pattern. Otherwise, just kind of toasty, right? Well, let's see how toasty. Speaking of which, rainfall on that same, or not even that model, but just rainfall in general from the Hydrometeorological Center, where they predict rainfall amounts for long periods of time. This takes us out through June 17th, so 7 days. It basically has that storm cluster for tomorrow kind of highlighted here, and then nothing after that, right? So it's got us bone dry. Temperatures on that trend are going to keep us on the warm side, so we're going to be, again, 94 here in Oklahoma City. Is a good average. Some people may get pushed in the west. Northwest side of town may hit 97, but otherwise it's going to be mid-90s tomorrow. And then we've got the low 90s to near 90 for the next several days after that. And then we'll see what happens in the extended. This is June 19, 2021. We might be getting a little bit of a rain signal helping to cool these temperatures down just a few degrees. We can get some of those clusters that move through. But overall, the pattern isn't all that exciting. And then overnight lows into the upper 60s. So, it's not terrible, but it is just about where we could and should be. So there you go with that. All right. So that is what I have here for you. Let me skip through your comments here real quick. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, Doug, you do get a little bit of everything in Oklahoma. That is true. Lori dropping hashtag facts. Must be hashtagging Tom McDonald. Let's see. Honestly, I don't know why it wasn't working in here. It was really weird. Will this impact the Dodgers game tomorrow? Oh. So, you know what? I'll tell you what. I meant to do that, and I got sidetracked off everything else. Let me show you the timing on another model. That one didn't have it come in Oklahoma City until, was it about 9 o'clock? So, let's check the timing on a couple of different ones. So, let's take a look here. All right, we'll go with our super duper high res HER model. And there's that little line of storms. Tries to get going along the cold front. Really didn't have much luck. And that's in the late evening hours. That's 8 o'clock up here in northern Oklahoma and Kansas. That's similar to the other ones, a little later. It doesn't have much here until about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Then has a secondary round that tries to push through overnight into northern and central Oklahoma. So it has a little bit different look with the storms. It does kind of migrate south and west before dying out on Saturday morning down there around Lawton. All right, now, like I said, it's not the only high-res models that we have to try to time this cluster. It is going to be very difficult to do, just so you know. You're not going to be the exact hour this far out. It's not one of those situations, but at least it'll give us an idea. So there's 7 o'clock here. So again, it's northern Oklahoma, northern counties up around Bartlesville, Miami, Nowata, southeast Kansas. So dry here in central Oklahoma and Oklahoma City through 8 o'clock. There's 9 o'clock. See how it's a little bit different in the timing? And there's 10 o'clock moving through. Then it kind of clears through the state overnight by a couple hours after midnight. And then, of course, there's nothing after that. So a little bit different in the timing. Just it's ahead, versus being behind, it's ahead. So the average right now is about 9 p.m. of arriving here in Oklahoma City. And then you've got one a couple hours later and one that's probably a couple hours earlier. Let's see. Saturday. This one is coming. This one actually falls apart on the west side. Never even makes it to Oklahoma City at midnight on tomorrow night. But Tulsa gets it. So it looks like, the best opportunity for rain is definitely going to be in the northeastern parts of Oklahoma. And then central Oklahoma is a wild card right now. I do like the idea of seeing some storms moving through Timing again is going to be mid to late evening, so this means after 7, probably closer to 9 o'clock. That would be how I would look at it, approach it at this point in time. But watch radar trends. Use my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It'll alert you. It'll say storms approaching. It'll give you, that's about a 25-mile leeway. It'll give you an alert that says lightning in the area. So you're not going to get caught off guard if you got my weather app for that. And then that way you can plan accordingly. All right. Well, that is it for me. Thank you guys for your comments and checking in with me tonight and on YouTube. And let's see, thanks for the questions as well. Let me see here. Let's quick. So Kathy wants to know, is it going to stay this humid? I was telling Jody this. I said, you sure you didn't want to stay in Canada? I said, welcome to Oklahoma weather. This is it. But it's only like this for like a couple of weeks, because what we really need to do is dry out the atmosphere, and we haven't dried it out yet. And so that's the issue. So once the lowest part from like the evapotranspiration, so once the ground starts to dry up, and of course that means some of our vegetation starts to die off a little bit, then those humidity values come way down as well. And then some things can happen upper levels that kind of help to dry things out too. So overall, it'll get better. It's just right now we're at the early stages of that, so it's kind of like, but it won't last too much longer. I believe it's going to be late July and August. I think that's when we're pretty much our driest, and you have those, even though it's warm, you have those relatively nice cool evenings if you're in the shade. I mean, it feels like night and day difference. So that'll be coming up, but for right now we got to deal with mosquitoes and some stagnant airflow. Anyway, all right, listen, thanks for joining in, and hope you got to check out my blog I wrote on Sunday. I try to sum up the whole week in one blog every Sunday when I get around to writing one out. Make sure you subscribe, like that finger says right there, on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook, and then hit the bell on YouTube, and there's some other things you can hit on Facebook and Twitter to make sure you get notified when I do go live. And that's going to be it from me. All right, you guys have a great night, sleep well, and we will talk to you soon. Have a good weekend, and watch out for those storms late tomorrow evening. Take care.